Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Pop Go the Writers. How are you doing? I hope you are all well. Apologize for not being here last week. I have been under the weather. This is actually the first broadcast I have done since. Didn't do my normal shows during the week either, but I am trying to get back up to speed, and this seemed like a good place to start. Joining me today.
There's a big thing of plexiglass right here between us. I just so everybody's
Yeah, that's right.
I'm safe. I'm protected from his germs.
Yeah, and no, it wasn't COVID. Actually, it's nothing contagious, but
Okay.
yeah, and nothing heroic either. It's all just bad, nasty stuff. But
Yeah, it sounds like
basically, I spent more time laying in bed than I probably have in the last 5 years.
Wow.
Because I'm not that guy. I'm always sleep, get up, go. Sleep, So
Yeah. Wow.
So, joined by Jim Beard, of course, coming off of his convention this weekend, the Pulp Convention. We have a lot to talk about.
Yep, that's true.
Yeah. Now, I will mention this just out the gate and get it aside. Jim is not watching The Boys. I have watched The Boys. I was just as horrified as everybody else by that first 10 minutes.
Uh-oh. Have they done the hamster thing or the gerbil thing or whatever that was in the show?
They topped that by so much.
Oh, okay.
They went to a level that I
Okay.
didn't even think they could go to.
Wow.
Yeah.
What
yeah.
service is that on? What platform is that on?
Amazon Prime.
Okay. I don't have Amazon Prime yet. I'm going to get it when the Lord of the Rings show comes out. Then I'll have Amazon Prime.
Yeah. So if you want to hear my thoughts on The Boys, I will be talking about it on Tuesday on the Dan Wickline show on The Experience. So you can check that out. I'll cover, because I didn't do any shows last week, I'll cover all 4 of the first episodes on Tuesday. We did watch Miss Marvel, and we did watch Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Mm-hmm.
Also, there was a new trailer for Sandman came out, which I did you get a chance to see the Sandman trailer?
I did, although I'm not a big fan of the comics. But the trailer looked nice, and I have a lot of friends who are fans of those comics. And I think in general, everybody seemed to be impressed by what they saw. There was a good vibe going around about it. It looks like, it's been done right.
Yeah. Well, Neil is definitely involved in the process. So, when he's got his hands on.
Right.
So
I think that makes all the difference in the world. Seemingly.
I hadn't gotten into Sandman, hadn't read the comics, and then probably within the last year, they had the audiobook come out that was like a full cast.
Oh, wow.
And I listened to that and was really impressed by it. I will admit, I'm not a big horror guy.
Mm-hmm.
And there are some parts that get very horror.
Yeah.
Like disturbing, uncomfortable horror.
Yeah.
So, but, I'm curious what the series is going to go or what he's going to do. But I think it looks good.
Good.
And then there's been some other trailers that dropped. We're not going to get into too many. A lot of stuff. Like I know we keep seeing more and more of Thor: Love and Thunder. But I think we'll save that one until it actually comes out.
It won't be too long now, really.
Yeah. I think one of the things that surprises me is if you look at the box office this weekend, besides the fact that the top 2 movies are Jurassic Park and Top Gun, which makes me feel like we're back in the 1980s.
Everything old is new again.
Yeah. But Doctor Strange was still at number 3.
Wow.
It brought in close to 5 million, but they're going to release it on Disney Plus in 10 days.
Yeah, that's amazing. And then I just saw something about an extended cut of No Way Home.
Yeah, the more fun edition is what they're calling it, and it's basically a money grab. I mean, the thing did 1.8 billion. If they can throw it back in there and get closer to 2 billion, great. They're going to do it Labor Day weekend to coincide with the 60th anniversary of it.
Do we know what we're getting with that? Like what parts are extended or anything at all? No.
No. But I know that originally there was supposed to be like 100 minutes of footage of deleted scenes on the Blu-ray, and then when the Blu-ray came out, it had a lot less than that, which makes me think: is it? Oh yeah, we're going to put all this out on Blu-ray. And somebody went, "Hang on a second,
yeah, somebody
shut your mouth. You got a plan."
Yeah, right.
So, yeah. Kyle chimes in saying that he and I will have to be talking about Sandman a lot.
Okay.
I am not a Sandman expert, so I will have to. But yeah, Kyle pops up on my show quite often. Just jumps in.
You feel the same about Sand that Anakin Skywalker does.
Yeah. I loved the opening of the Sandman series, but like I said, when it got a lot more horror is when I started to check out and I had a hard time finishing it.
Oh, Sand made me think of Black Adam, the trailer for Black Adam.
Oh yeah, Black Adam trailer. That I got a lot of interesting mixed feelings on that because I think it looks good, but I spent the entire trailer going, where the hell are Dr. Fate's eyes? Why doesn't he have eyes in his helmet?
Because it's not cool. They have eyes.
It's been cool for 70 some odd years.
He doesn't need. He uses the third eye. When he has the helmet on.
Does the third eye get an eye slot?
No, because the third eye is internal. The third eye is, unless you're Doctor Strange, the third eye is not a physical thing. It's internal. See, DC cannot copy Marvel in any way whatsoever. They always have to do things differently.
Lisa's biggest comment about Doctor Strange was, why the hell did they give him a third eye? He looks horrible now. Not the story, not just... But he doesn't look as cute anymore.
Yeah. Do we have any idea? Do we have any idea if Black Adam is connected at all to the Shazam movies?
Yeah, it is. It's supposed to be connected.
Wow. I mean, tonally, it looks like it couldn't possibly be, but I don't see how they couldn't not link it.
Yeah, no. He's supposed to be that missing chair. Okay. At the end of the first movie, that one spot. Okay. It's supposed to be him.
Okay.
So, yeah, we'll have to see how they pull that together. But yeah, that I mean, a lot of that looked really good. Atom Smasher wearing Deadpool's mask looked good. Just down the line, everything, I liked it. But again, I kept looking at Dr. Fate going, why no eye slots?
Because it's magic. It's magic.
I am more interested in seeing Pierce Brosnan as Dr. Fate than I am anything else about that movie. I could care less that Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson's in it. I could care less about anything else. Pierce Brosnan as Dr. Fate, I'm in, and that's all that matters to me. So,
all I want to know is if Cyclone is Ma Hunkle's granddaughter in this universe. Or they're just going to forget about that altogether.
Actually, with the way these comic movies work, they'll probably do a throwaway line. There'll probably be some comment about it.
I can't imagine her name being Hunkle at all. That it would just sound too silly to modern filmmakers these days. What? No.
Yeah, or maybe what they'll do is they'll just show, because it looks like there might be like a JSA trophy room or honor area, and they might have her pot, and she goes, "Oh, that was my grandmother."
Yeah, I'm sure. sure. Maybe they'll even say Red Tornado.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hmm.
Thank you, Jay. I'll see you on Tuesday, Jay. All right. So let's go ahead and get into the Miss Marvel series,
Yeah.
being that we have the one episode. And I
Yeah.
have a feeling that you and I are kind of like minds on this.
Could
But I'm
be.
going to go ahead and let you give your thoughts on it first.
I as I said on Facebook, I didn't love it and I didn't hate it. I did like most of it. I'm not. I haven't followed the comics, but I know enough about her, and seen and I know a lot of fans of it. That it was, I guess, very faithful to the comics, with the exception of her powers. Um, I think the thing that drew me in the most is the idea of who her grandmother is.
Yeah.
That really piqued my interest. um I think that the actress is doing a fine job, but she has that same problem that most actors on TV and movies have right now, is that they mumble everything. That there's no such thing as diction coaches anymore. And I'm resisting the idea of putting the captions on. So I'm just you know that one. I mean, literally more than half of what was being said, I was like, what? I was trying to get it through inference.
Yeah.
um, um, uh, and then the only other thing, I guess, I to me, her parents came off as something of stereotypes. And that kind of confused or concerned me. That
Mhm.
was a bit of a surprise. Not mostly in the way they were acting. I know that people from that part of the world actually have accents like that, but just everything came off as kind of stereotypes to me. I think that the mother broke out of that kind of right at the end,
Mhm.
with her little impassioned words to Kamala. But again, there's enough in it that's intriguing me that I'm gonna watch it no matter what. It's nice to have a Marvel show again that feels like it's actually in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Moon
Yeah.
Knight. But
They actually had the Moon Knight guys take out references.
yeah, we talked about that before.
Yeah.
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 Yeah,
I
well,
think,
I loved Avengers Con. That was, all of the Easter eggs in that was all very fun. And it's I really love to see the impact that those heroes are having on that universe to the
yeah.
public. That is something that I've always enjoyed, to see what the person on the street thinks about all these different, people. And I really love the sort of in memoriam part of the show.
Yeah.
That was really nice.
Um, I think like I said, I think I agree with you on most of the parts. I absolutely love the dad though.
Okay, I
He's
felt bad for him in that
oh
one
yeah,
scene.
but he was okay. The first question I've got on this show is: does the mom have superpowers? Because there's that moment where they're talking. She comes in and Bruno's there, and she's like, "I will make you something. Hang on." Walks in the kitchen, walks back out with this bag full of
Oh
food in like a split second. And
yeah,
by itself, I think that would be just a joke. But then later, she put two full cosplay costumes together overnight.
yeah. I that never occurred to me. I thought it was supposed to be two jokes,
Yeah,
that she's super mother, and that she can do those things, whip up anything. I thought that was just literally, the same kind of jokes you see a lot about mother characters in shows. That's very interesting. That never occurred to me. Although we think that maybe her mother was somebody, but it makes I don't know who in the Marvel universe that could end up being. I haven't seen any theories about that.
I do have a theory, but we'll get to that.
Okay, okay.
Um,
I did have a thought about Kamala and her powers, but if you want me to sit on it for now,
no,
I
no.
can sit on it.
Well, let me give you my thoughts on the
Okay,
overall.
please. Yeah, please.
Um, I don't mind the power change
Hmm.
because I kind of feeling they're trying to align more towards the Captain Marvel universe and
Yeah.
not towards the Inhumans universe,
Yes.
which is fine. But in a sense, they're still doing it because Captain Marvel is Kree, and the Krees created the Inhumans. So by a connection, you're still getting a similar connection.
Yes.
Now I've seen a lot of stuff online. Some of the guys that both of us watch that are trying to bend over backwards that she's still going to end up with stretchy powers by the end of this. And I watch those shows and I think every time we get to the point where we're trying to make things more complicated, then that's when these theories go off the rails.
Yeah.
Oh, it's Mephisto. Oh, it's this. Oh, when we,
I haven't heard
when
the name Mephisto in a little while.
when we look at the straightforward what they're doing, it's a lot easier thinking, okay, they're only going to go so far out of the range of what they're creating here. It's like Sharon Carter being the power broker. That doesn't make sense to me. And I mean, story wise, but that's where they went. And it fit within the narrative they were creating.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's going to be anything. I don't think they're going to suddenly start trying to explain Terrigen Mist in this series.
Okay, see that's very interesting because my thought was that they were going to potentially double back around and surprise us by saying that she is an Inhuman and that's why that bracelet works for her. Or not necessarily that she's an Inhuman, but there's something about her that was able to trigger the bracelet rather than just that anybody who would put it on,
My theory pulls that into play too.
yeah.
Okay. Overall, the thing that I love about the Marvel Universe is a lot of it is designed to be different genres all pulled together.
Mm-hmm.
We just had Doctor Strange, which was basically a horror movie.
Right.
And that was a Sam Raimi horror movie, if you ever saw one.
Absolutely.
And then you get, Spider-Man. The whole Spider-Man trilogy was basically a love letter to John Huston films. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like Better Off Dead and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And you go down the line, they each have this kind of feel. So,
sure. Yeah.
To me, this is kind of their version of Scott Pilgrim.
Yep.
Or what they did with Into the Spider-Verse, with a lot of the background art, which I think is clever. I think this is
I like that. In fact, I really like the whole opening where she's doing her podcast. And I thought that it was all very clever. And you know what? I think that Marvel really missed out and not make at least one Scott Lang episode of his podcast as like a greater promotional thing. I mean, right?
Oh yeah.
I mean,
I've been wondering ever since the Disney Plus series has been going on. Well, how do all these people know this stuff? Scott Lang.
Mm-hmm.
They just answered that with one simple thing: is he's doing a podcast and telling everybody.
Just get Paul Rudd to record one episode. That's all they need. So you put it online somewhere. Kamala mentions it. You go looking for it, and it's just like when they did Cloverfield, and they had all of the meta, extra stuff all over the internet and clues and things. Just get Paul Rudd to do one episode. That's all you really need, and it would have been really fun. So maybe they'll do that at some point.
Yeah, and you could have him interview just about anybody.
Yeah.
You know,
Or
Korg.
you get a minor character from
Yeah.
something. You know, I don't.
You get Taika Waititi in there. They could just ad lib the whole thing.
Yes.
So you got
And that's what I
Ant-Man
was
and
thinking
Korg.
is don't
Yeah.
really script it. I mean, Paul Rudd can
Oh yeah,
spitball. Of course he can. That would
yeah.
have been fun.
That would be. Maybe they still will.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll see that as part of the new Ant-Man movie.
Oh, yep. See,
You know,
here's me saying they should have done it, and maybe you know what that's probably what it is. Did you see that Kamala had like 2 followers on her? It's sad.
she's gonna pass me soon. But I really thought. I think this is a good series.
Hmm?
It's not necessarily a series for me.
Mm-hmm. Same
This
here.
isn't the type of stuff I normally would watch.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't a fan of the Scott Pilgrim movie, but I could appreciate what they were doing with it.
Yeah.
The little bit of absurdity that gets mixed in with the daydreaming.
Yeah.
And even that, I think it's probably a little more realistic than the Scott Pilgrim movies.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Moon Knight was so kind of, for the most part, very serious. We're seeing that She-Hulk is obviously not going to be overall terribly serious. In a way, maybe Ms. Marvel is the bridging show between the two to get us to kind of lighten up again, and then we go into She-Hulk with maybe a little bit more humor, to it.
What they're doing is they're doing they're keeping the tone from the comics.
Yeah.
Not everybody buys every comic out there.
Yep.
If you're buying Moon Knight, you may not pick up Miss Marvel.
Yep.
You might, but
yeah. Oh, I mean, to put those 2 shows back to back and the audience is like completely different is very interesting. I've said it before. It's the power of Marvel Studios to get me to watch something like Ms. Marvel. I mean, like I said, I know who she is. I've read comics where she's part of the, the Avengers or something, but not having read her comic. But here I am. I'm totally invested in the Marvel cinematic universe, and I have to see how this goes.
Yep.
Yeah.
And again, I think that's it's kind of funny. I talk to a lot of people who expect every new Marvel movie to fail. And their reasoning is simple, because nothing lasts forever. No, movies are cyclical. Everything is a trend, is a fad. Yeah. Well, Marvel's been doing this now for 14 years.
Mm-hmm.
But what they haven't been doing is putting out the exact same movies.
Yeah. Yes.
They change it up. And sometimes they don't work as well. Mm-hmm. But even the ones that don't work as well still make a ton of money.
Mm-hmm. They were getting close to making the same movie over and over again. And then I think somewhere along the line, they had some meetings, and some, whoever it was, Kevin Feige or whoever was, starting to say, like, we're getting a little close to getting into a rut here.
Yeah.
And you said it yourself. They probably said, geez, there's so many different genres that we can play with, and there's so much more to mine from the comics. I mean, I'm still looking forward to them getting into their monster characters. Hopefully Werewolf really is on the way, but I want to see Dracula in, the Marvel Dracula. I want to see, well, I guess maybe the Frankenstein monster. I'd be all for Ghost Rider, coming back after being on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Living Mummy, all that. Son of Satan, come on.
Yep. So, all right, let me throw my theory out there.
Okay.
But no, I think it's an excellently written, excellently filmed series that is going to really appeal to a younger audience, which is great.
Yeah.
And and it's still good for everybody else, but it's going to hit home for a lot of people in that age group.
Yeah, absolutely.
But my thought is that there's a part that has been thrown out there that hasn't been explored. And it's from the original Captain Marvel movie, where Talos talks about there having been Kree sleeper cells on Earth.
Okay, right.
So my thought is that Kamala's nanny, or whatever she called, I don't remember, it was Nani, was Kree.
Mm-hmm.
Hiding on Earth, or basically as a sleeper agent on Earth,
Mm-hmm.
and married a Pakistani man, got into the culture,
Mm-hmm.
and one of the Kree's main weapons is the negabands.
Mm-hmm.
So my thought is that it's a negaband from the Kree Empire, and she is a descendant of the Kree, being part human, and down the line. So her mom is half, and she's a quarter, and that's why she's able to activate the bands because of her Kree heritage, not because of, no human should be able to pick it up and use it.
Do you feel then that this is also have some connective tissue with Secret Invasion?
It might.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I could totally see that, especially with what you just said about the Skrull. Well, Marvel herself was more or less a sleeper, well, she was undercover here.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, yeah. So that's my thought. Is that
I'm all for it?
Yeah, it's a Kree, and I think there was an interview recently with the directors who talked about the change of powers, and they referred to what she's using as hard light, and said though that it's not in her final form yet, and that's why a lot of people are going, "Oh my God, she's going to end up stretchy after all." I don't think that's that. I think the light will change how it looks. Where right now it just looks like big globs of light. Yeah. I think it'll start taking more and more to an almost Green Lantern level of power.
Yeah. Well, she did do the hand thingy to catch.
Exactly.
What's her name? Chloe or whatever her name was.
Yeah.
Who was wearing a sort of the an original Ms. Marvel type costume. And it's funny. I haven't seen anybody say anything about that. Even in the Easter egg video I watched, they didn't bring that up of that her outfit was like the original Ms. Marvel outfit.
Yeah, it was the original Ms. Marvel with the current color scheme.
Yeah.
Yep. No, so yeah, I think they're going to keep with the Kree heritage. I think it gets her better in line with Captain Marvel.
Yeah.
So
you see, end of the show, end of the series, Brie Larson cameo. What do you think?
Possible, especially since Iman Vellani.
Rambeau.
Yeah, either one of those.
Yeah, I'm thinking, they would probably bring the house down if it was Brie Larson.
Let me put it this way. I will be surprised if there isn't one.
Right? I mean, that's everything to her. To her idol would suddenly appear,
And her next appearance is going to be in the Marvels movie.
Yeah, I mean, right? There you go,
Yeah, Marvel's not going to miss that opportunity.
Carol appearing and saying, "Hey, I've been hearing about you." Here's the funny thing is we have seen very, very little, if at all, of Captain Marvel's interaction with humanity in modern, and obviously there's something that they know about her. I mean, you know what I mean? Like Kamala's a big fan, and I'm trying to think of who else. Jimmy Woo, I think, mentions her about she could have beat Thanos and all, and they seem to know the events of Endgame. Kamala seems to, so that's interesting. Yeah. Like, how much more has Captain Marvel interacted with humanity?
I think that all comes down to Ant-Man. It's all Ant-Man's podcast.
There you go.
Yep. So, all right. So we're one episode in. I'm really curious. Once we start getting to some bad guys, the fact that there was a post-credit scene surprised me.
Yeah. How about that?
Yeah.
And that's Damage Control, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Exactly. It's the same guy from Spider-Man: No Way Home.
Cool. I I don't think those are the actual Damage Control characters, though. That from the original Damage Control. I would have liked that, but I'm just happy they're using the name. Although they don't seem to be the cleanup crew of the Marvel universe like Damage Control used to be.
It's how they started, because that's how they appeared in the first Spider-Man movie.
Mm-hmm, right.
But yeah,
right.
they've become more of a government agency.
Yeah.
Enforcement thing now, which
right,
is
because they weren't even a government agency originally. They were literally a private company that just went around and cleaned up after.
Yeah,
and charged people for it.
So we get another one this week. I will be talking about it Wednesday on the Dan Wickline show, and then I'll be back here with Jim on Sunday talking about it. Before we move away from Marvel, though, there was the announcement this week that Marvel is moving forward on a Thunderbolts movie. They announced Deadline had Deadline had the exclusive that a director had been named. I don't remember off the top of my head who the director was, but it's another guy who he's got a handful of movies. He's not a big name guy, but a lot of people are excited about it. The writer is going to be the same writer as the writer for Black Widow.
Okay.
And they've said that though none of the cast has been announced, and it hasn't been confirmed by Marvel, but when you go to Deadline is one of those sources that you go, yeah, they're probably right.
Okay.
So
we're assuming this is the team that Val is putting together.
That would be my assumption.
And right?
Yeah, and that we're going to get like the Yelena Belova, and we'll get John Walker.
Right.
We'll probably get Emil Blonsky from the Abomination.
Right.
They're talking about Ghost from the Ant-Man movies.
Oh, and what about Zemo?
Oh, and they're absolutely talking about Zemo.
Okay, right.
And supposedly Marvel has reached out to certain actors and said, "Please keep your summer clear." So,
oh, those tricky little devils.
Yeah. Do you think there is room for a Thunderbolts movie, and can they make it different enough that people aren't going to go, "Oh, that's Marvel's Suicide Squad"?
Yeah, which of course is ironic, because in the sense of the movies, DC made Suicide Squad because Guardians of the Galaxy worked well, with obscure characters. So, yeah, that's a really interesting one, since if it's being put together with those different characters, it's not really like it's a movie about villains. Which I think would be really different as a movie, and I think I'd much rather see something like that original concept of the Thunderbolts. But I think I think it will be well received because of how much people like Yelena and want to see her again. I think for the most part, people like John Walker and wanted to see him again. They're definitely going to want to see more of Julia Louis-Dreyfus. And it really kind of depends on who else we might get introduced between now and then. And, everybody loves Zemo. I can't think of the actor's name.
Daniel Bruhl.
Yeah. What if Titania ends up in this? We don't really know if we like her yet in the Marvel.
Yeah.
I think it's really going to hinge on those actors and the charisma of them, and you know what? If people are going to compare it to Suicide Squad, there's really not much that can be done about that. The proof will be in how well it's written and filmed.
Yeah.
Well,
I was thinking that there's some characters they could pull in. Sadly, they can't really pull in Thunderbolt Ross with William Hurt having passed away. Yeah. And Marvel isn't the type to recast. They've done it. I mean, they've done it in some cases, but that was early on. They don't tend to do it anymore.
Yeah. No.
And so
But I could see it being dedicated to the memory of Thunderbolt Ross.
Yeah, yeah. And I could, the way I could see them getting around it. Well, the Thunderbolts are kind of an interesting team because originally they weren't meant to be Suicide Squad. The Avengers were gone, all the heroes were gone, and a bunch of villains took on new personas.
Yeah.
And acted like heroes, but it was all a ploy.
Right. But then in the process, some of them decided they liked being good.
Yeah.
I would have a feeling that that's how a movie would go, where they would start out maybe doing underhanded things, maybe, not necessarily outright villainous things, but maybe some assassinations or something. And then some of them, saying, no, I don't want to be like that anymore. Especially John Walker. You know what I mean? I can't see him that he would want to be patriotic and all of that,
Right. Which is why I think what they might end up doing is more of a play on the Dark Reign thing or the Dark Avengers. Call it the Thunderbolts, but put together a team that is almost a mirror image of the Avengers to put out there that the government is in full control of. They bring in like Justin Hammer to be the tech guy, so you get Sam Rockwell back.
Yeah.
You put Zemo maybe in armor, like the Citizen V armor.
Yeah.
You get Abomination is your Hulk.
Right. Yelena's Black Widow. So like who would their Thor be?
That's the tricky one.
Beta Ray Bill.
I had a really odd thought on that one, but I was thinking Icarus.
Oh wait, I thought he's dead though.
He flew into the sun, but we don't know if it killed him or not.
Oh, I guess it's funny that you should say that because I assume that he is dead. That's funny. Well, what about what if it's Valkyrie?
Or what if again another person that's supposed to be dead?
Yeah.
What if it's Scourge?
Yeah.
Because he is on. At one point, he's on the team.
Wait, how about this? Are you ready for this? You're sitting back. I see it, right? Loki.
Loki would be interesting.
Yeah, or the variant Loki, but who is, I guess, our Loki now.
Yeah.
I mean, as the Thor, stand-in.
What about instead of Tom Hiddleston Loki, Sylvie?
Oh, I'd buy that for $1.
Yeah.
Wow. Who would be the Hawkeye stand-in? I wonder.
I had an answer for that, and now I can't remember. Oh, Taskmaster.
Well, oh yeah, she's still alive.
Yep, she was alive at the end.
You're right. Okay. Very interesting. Very interesting team. So you're saying that Ghost would be sort of the Ant-Man sort of stand-in, yeah. Okay. I think we got this here.
Yeah. So I think, and then what happens is though that they're much darker, so that's your story though. Is it involves them trying to, government controlled and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's Dark Avengers, but using the Thunderbolts name.
Yeah. Because calling them Dark Avengers doesn't really work. Calling them the Avengers, because they still want to be an Avengers team. They want to get to an Avengers team. Yeah. So I can see them using the Thunderbolts to do that.
Yeah.
But all right.
And I was thinking about that is we still really do not know if there is currently in the Marvel Cinematic Universe a current Avengers. And if so, who are they? I don't think that there's any active Avengers at this time.
I think the closest we have to an Avengers is at the end of Shang-Chi when you have Captain Marvel, Hulk, and Wong all together.
Yeah.
So I think there's still kind of a connection thing going on, but I don't know if there's an actual, But then was there ever an actual team So,
Well,
something
yeah,
bad happened, they showed up. But it's not like they trained together.
I think so. I think at the end of uh, 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 shoot, I'm losing my brain here. Winter Soldier.
Okay.
That was considered to be an active Avengers team. I would say that, and there was up through Endgame, and that I could totally see that at that point maybe everybody kind of said, let's take a break, But yeah,
Yeah.
I think that maybe there's some machinery still in place,
Yeah.
but that there's not an actual active,
It's the
team.
Zoom Avengers.
Huh?
It's the Zoom Avengers. They meet through
Oh, okay. Yes,
conference.
that's exactly what it is. Because again, I don't know who the Avengers would. You know what? My thought is that probably once the new Captain America movie comes out, that Sam is going to be the one to draw together a new formal Avengers.
Yeah. I think that's a good call. All right, we better move on to Kenobi before we run out of.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm still
Okay.
getting used to the shorter time. I'm used to an
Yeah.
hour and a half. But all right,
We can do this. We can do this.
we can absolutely do this. So we didn't talk last week, so we got episodes 3 and 4.
Yeah.
We're
I'm
looking
trying to
at.
remember what happens. Help me, Obi-Wan.
3 was on the planet, and it was a pretty slow. Um,
Oh, it's the Darth Vader episode, right?
yeah, but it's a pretty slow episode until we meet Vader. And basically, episode 3 was let's let's introduce Vader, which I thought they did in a spectacular fashion.
Mm-hmm.
Because, you and me, we grew up on Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
I saw it when I was 7. I had at 7 years old, I bought Darth Vader and Chewbacca action figures before I saw the movie.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um,
I was 12.
yeah. So we know Star Wars.
Yes.
But there are some people that they've never had Vader as the bad guy.
As a straight
They've had
bad guy.
Anakin,
Yeah.
and they had Kylo, and they had the end of Rogue One.
Yeah.
But never just so to see him in his glory, just dragging people down the street, I thought was great. And also, I thought it was a good way to show just how disconnected from the Force Ben had become.
Yeah, and that was totally the point of that episode, and to hear that some people were surprised or disappointed that they just didn't have a full Revenge of the Sith type lightsaber battle. It's like, no, the guy just used the Force for the first time in about 10 years, when he saved Leia from falling. I was surprised at how much I like the Vader stuff, because I do not like the Vader stuff in Rogue One. I'm one of the few people that thought it was so, and you'll pardon the pun, forced and too much fan service. That whole thing in the corridor at the end, I really disliked it, because I just didn't believe that it fit within Rogue One. That Rogue One was not about the Jedi or any, using the Force or anything like that whatsoever. And I really disliked it. And I felt the same way about the Darth Maul thing at the end of Solo. I thought it was total. It's like, can't we just have one movie without any Jedi in it whatsoever?
Yeah.
But that episode 3 of Obi-Wan, again, I was so surprised. And I almost stood up and cheered the first words out of his mouth, and it's James Earl Jones, because that's what I was waiting for. It's like, they gotta have, and he sounded so damn good.
Yeah.
Like,
Now,
I have a feeling they may have tweaked things a little bit.
Yeah, there is credit for a revoicer thing.
Yeah, but wow, just to hear that went such a long way with me, and we'd forgotten how wicked he could be when he sets the fire and then drags Obi-Wan into it. I thought, That's not Anakin anymore. That's just Vader.
Yep.
Like, wow. Let me ask you this.
Okay.
People have brought this up to me. My podcast partner, Fred, was really bothered by the fact that Vader just stood there when Obi-Wan got rescued. I completely saw it as he on purpose did not do anything. And I felt I saw you could see that where he stands there very still and then just quickly wheels around and walks off. There's
Yeah.
like, because Fred was saying like he couldn't walk through the fire, he couldn't jump over the fire, he couldn't walk around the fire, and I said, Fred, he let him go on purpose. And I think it was because he wanted to make sure that the torture was going to continue, for Obi-Wan.
He's a cat batting a mouse.
Yeah, exactly.
He wants
I
to
was so
prolong this.
surprised that there were people that didn't see it like that. I'm really pretty invested in what's her name begins with a V, the I keep saying Velma, and it's not Velma, the fake Imperial officer that's helping
Oh, it's
him.
Talia.
Is it?
Yeah, it's Talia.
I thought it began with a V. I don't know where I was. Okay. I'm really, really invested in her character now. I'm surprised that she's still alive. Spoiler alert! But I look forward to seeing where that's going to go with her character.
Yeah, I know the first draft of the script had her being a love interest for Kenobi.
I wondered about that. And then, that they could get a reference to his old love, in there.
Satine Phoenix? Or
Yeah.
Satine, yeah.
When it first occurred to me, and then I said, no, that's too pat, or too obvious. And I think in today's world that there would be too many involved in the production of the show that say just because you have a female character and a male character, they do not have to have a relationship or love. I would still be open to something, a little bit of sparks, and Obi-Wan explaining or saying the thing about I can't do attachments, can't do it.
I think if he had met, if they had met on Tatooine when he gave up the Jedi ways, but I think he is reconnecting to them, so he won't do that now.
Yeah.
So it could have been done early, but I don't think it's going to happen now.
Yeah.
But
I totally think that the little Leia is. There are so many times where she's channeling Carrie Fisher. I am amazed at how many times I look at her and I go, "My God, that's Carrie," right behind her eyes. Sometimes like they must have had her study Carrie, or Billy is on set coaching her or something. I don't know.
I don't know.
I mean, that's amazing for the age that girl is.
I do love the little touch that, and you may know this already, but when Carrie Fisher was that age, she had a pet bird, and the bird's name was Lola, which is why they named the little robot.
No, I did not hear that. Oh, thank you for telling me that. Wow.
Yeah, at least that's what's going around online, and
that's really amazing. I really feel that they got a photo of 9 or 10-year-old Carrie Fisher, and that's what they used in auditions, or even put that out there somehow and say if your kid looks like this, because it's just amazing to me.
Yep. No, she's doing great. Going into episode 4, though. Episode 3, I thought it was great. I loved basically it was a little boring. My favorite part in episode 3 was them riding on the back of that guy's truck.
Yeah.
And that moment where, and it's probably some of the best acting I've seen in Star Wars.
Yeah.
When he talks about Leia was her mother's name, and says, and I sometimes see her. I'm like, that's why you get Ewan McGregor.
Yeah, yeah, totally agree with that. Um, and as much as I love the thing about his brother, I really want it to just stay right there in that scene. I really think that it has more impact that it was that just a part of that scene that we don't need them to follow up on that.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? I don't want I know a lot of people were like, "Oh, great, we can have the search for his brother, or his brother can be the new Kenobi in the Star Wars." It's like, no, no, you don't have to follow up on every last little thing like that. It's a beautiful little scene, and I love it when he says, "And a baby," and she goes, "A baby?" Like, "Oh, that's cool," and then he said, "Yes, I think I had a brother," and again, it just needs to stay as part of that wonderful little scene. And I want so many more scenes like that. That would be my one main criticism about this series, is that Ewan is not getting enough opportunities to really act with dialogue, because when he gets those scenes, yeah, the guy's amazing, and we all knew that, but to get more of it is really something. But I want a little bit more meat, on the bone, and not literally just have him running around without saying much of. He's been very quiet for the most part in this series.
now episode 4, besides being Ice Cube's son, we get to meet.
Okay.
Those guys are kind of funny to me because I think we're supposed to be emotionally connected to Wade because of what happens to him at the end. But
Yeah.
he had like one line of dialogue.
Yeah.
We don't care about Wade. We don't talk about Bruno. We don't care about Wade.
What about Bruno?
But I think I spent that entire episode thinking, well, that's not going to work. There's no way that's going to work.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, it's working.
I felt that
That
same.
can't possibly work.
Well, that's what. Wait, going back to what I was saying about whatever you said her name is, Talia or whatever the hell it is. I said, okay, so she dies in this one. There's no way.
Yeah.
There's absolutely no way she walks out of this episode.
Yeah.
And she walks out of the episode, and I thought they got some plans for her. There's,
Yeah, I was good through all of it until the trench coat.
well,
And I've even come up with my own reason to excuse it,
yeah.
which is everybody there is so damn scared
Yeah.
for their lives because they're working with the Inquisitors and Vader that they're just doing their job perfectly. I'm just doing my job. I don't care that there's 4 legs under that trench coat. Yes. I am doing my job. So
and let us not forget, Star Wars is a fantasy. And sometimes we just have to go along with stuff. But yes, I think that everybody was really focused of going that way while these guys are going this way.
And I love the fact that early on in the episode, when Talia's walking to the security checkpoint, this person passes in front of her. And it's like, why is the camera pan suddenly looking at this person? And it's like, oh, they're wearing a trench coat. This is basically because there haven't been trench coats on Imperial officers in Star Wars. So it's like, well, we need to establish it real quick.
Yes. Right.
But it was an intense scene. And I loved, the thing I loved about it was watching Ben become Obi-Wan again.
Yeah, that's what it's all about.
And the culmination for me was the lightsaber flip.
Yes. Yeah.
He rolled it.
I agree with that. Totally.
And I'm like, there it is.
Yeah.
That's the move from the prequels.
Yeah. Well, I'm laughing because with everything going on, and he's got to get his little flourish in there,
Yep.
Yeah,
that
was good. And you know what? I mean, some of the down and dirty stuff, like the camera having to show us the dead troopers floating in the water on the other side of the door. I mean, it had to show us that. Yeah, it's like, we get it, man. It's serious stuff going down here.
This isn't the A team. Everybody's not getting up and walking away.
Oh, well,
These people died.
I actually saw somebody saying like, "Oh, I can't believe that like he's killing all these troopers." It's like, have you ever watched Star Wars before? Like, what are you talking about? The Jedi have
Did you
killed
happen to notice the
people.
second word in the title? Wars. Wow, I hadn't seen that. That's crazy. But
For some reason I read Twitter threads and stuff about stuff, and I don't know why. I see the very worst of humanity when I do that. I just don't know why, but sometimes I just have to, and I see a lot of really stupid comments like, "This is the worst Star Wars production ever." Like, the worst ever.
yeah.
Yeah, it's that bad.
I did think one of the scariest moments was Vader coming down the hall after Kenobi escaped.
Yeah. I saw somebody splice together that with Anakin from, well, I guess it would have been Revenge of the Sith, comparing the walks. Do we know how much Hayden Christensen is actually in the suit?
I believe he's in most of the scenes. He's not. They have two actors who are doing it, but.
Okay. I try not to worry about it too much. I want to think that he is, but it's just like Pedro Pascal, like, who's maybe hardly ever in the Mandalorian armor. And I try not to think about it because it takes me out of the fantasy too much. But I'd like to think that he's in there, but how Anakin got so tall, as like Vader towers over everybody, and Anakin wasn't that tall of a person.
They cut his legs off, so they put extended legs on.
I guess that's what it is. He, they gave him leg extensions.
I mean, if you were had your legs removed and new bionic legs put on, would you ask for a little extra height? I might not, because I'm 6'6".
Oh,
so I think I'm already where I need to be. But
okay. Wow, you're a foot taller. Well, no, almost a foot taller. I'm about 5'8". So, okay, I got to ask you this.
Okay.
Ian McDiarmid appearance or no Ian McDiarmid appearance by the end of this show? With what we've seen so far, do we get that or not?
I could see them doing it. I hope not.
Oh, I can see them doing it, and I hope they will do it. But just something brief, a hologram, something like at the end, like, Vader, you've been messing around too much. Whatever the hell you're doing, I need you back here.
Yeah.
That?
And I can see that now. But I like the idea right now, and even though we know there's an emperor,
yeah,
right now it's Reva's story, and Vader is the big bad above her.
Yeah.
When you put that person above him, you kind of deactivate his ability or his power or threat.
Yeah. And that was a criticism back in like Return of the Jedi, that there was that danger. I also think we're in a crucial juncture here with Leia, that she's still in the show, and that we're this close to the idea of her having the Force being open to way more people than it should be.
Yeah.
And I get a lot of like, why doesn't Reva know by now? It's like, again, I guess when you don't have any idea, you just don't think about it. It's like why Anakin doesn't realize that's his daughter. He has no idea that he even has a daughter. So it's just totally non-existent thought.
Or she may know and not said anything.
Yeah.
Because knowledge is power in this universe.
Yeah. And the other thing is that I'd like to think that the Force itself is protecting Luke and Leia in some ways, knowing that they will eventually bring balance, back. It's called the living force. It has a personality. It has drive and movement, and it's almost a creature in itself. I'd like to really think that it's working somehow to shield them, even more, and that somehow that's how Leia's, getting through all this. I saw somebody say, like, okay, after episode 4 everybody knows that Leia has the Force now, and it's like, no, if Reva suspects it, she's not telling a bunch of other people. It's like, no,
Yeah.
nobody. Leia's never done anything in front of anybody that would know, and she certainly isn't going around to her fellow Imperials, and there's been nothing like that whatsoever. And I don't see Reva making it out of this show alive. And I think if she finally puts 2 and 2 together, that secret's going to the grave with her.
Yeah. All right. We're going to have to wrap it up there. We got 2 episodes of that left. We got 5 episodes of Miss Marvel still coming.
We have to say what we always say. Only 2 more episodes of Obi-Wan Kenobi. How are they possibly going to fit everything in 2 episodes? Yeah. There. I've said it.
They just need to get away and get back home. So they could totally do that. 5 minutes. Hey, we're back on Alderaan. Here's your kid. Gotta go.
Well, what we need is Aunt Beru. I'm going to be mad if they hired Bonnie and not have her, in this show at all.
No brew, no peace.
Yeah. Right.
So, all right, guys. Thanks for tuning in, Jim. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me back.
Yeah. Like I said, I should be back up to a full schedule. So Tuesday, I'll be covering The Boys on the Dan Wickline Show. Wednesday will be Miss Marvel episode 2. And Thursday, I'll be talking about Kenobi plus whatever else comes up in the week. You never know nowadays. There's a lot of big shows coming up. We got Thor: Love and Thunder. We've got Only Murderers in the Building. Things that I'm going to be covering. So stick around. We'll be back. And thanks for tuning in, everybody. Have a great week.